Everybody knows that fall is synonymous with pumpkins, and we usually use them for jack-o'-lanterns, but let's not forget we can also use them for wonderful cooking. And a great base to start with any cooking with pumpkins is by making a pumpkin puree, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Well, let's start out by cutting our pumpkin in half. So I got a small one that I cut in half, and we're just going to scoop out the insides with the seeds that can be roasted for later. And we're just going to scoop out as much as we can so that we have deep inside wells of the pumpkin. And then after, we're just going to chop this into smaller pieces. This helps to make sure that the pumpkins, as they are roasting, can evenly be warmed up and make them a lot softer more faster. So once I have a good amount of my pumpkin seeds scooped out, if there's a couple in there, it's totally okay. You can always scoop a little bit out more once it's done cooking, but if you've got a pretty good bit out, we're just going to start by cutting these into fourths. So I'm going to put it back on the flat side to make it easier. Take my knife and just do half down the middle, and then do a fourth again. Don't forget to cut the stem off, and we can just simply do that by cutting these off at the top. I'm going to take my other half and I'm going to fourth cut it. And again, this is just a great way so that when we cook it, it'll cook a lot more faster. Instead of it being a whole part, it'll cook faster on separate parts. And in this time, if you feel as though there's some seeds, this is a great time to get any of those excess seeds out. All right, and so next we're going to put this into a pan. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this onto a pan that has at least 1/4 inch of water in it. The water is to help make the pumpkin softer as it's cooking in the oven. So now that we've taken our pumpkin out of the oven, and remember, we need it on there for 400 degrees for about an hour. It is now soft, and we can put in our pumpkin, the insides, into our blender, and that's how it's going to be blended and pureed. So I'm just going to scrape off the inside, the kind of fruit part that we need, and we're going to scoop it into our blender. So I'm going to take off the last bit of our last one. And some pumpkins may have a lighter color. That's totally okay. It's still going to give it the pumpkin flavor and taste that we know. So I've scooped it in there. And now we're going to use our blender to basically make it into our puree that we know and love. So I'm just going to make sure our top is on, and I'm going to turn our blender on and just start around like medium. So now our puree is nice and blended smooth. So I'm just going to transfer this to a mason jar, and after this, it can be just refrigerated. You can also put it in the freezer and save it for another meal. So what's great about this puree is you can use it for several different things. Again, you can use it for pumpkin pie. You can use it to make like a nice little dessert, like a pumpkin dip. And it's also great, like I said, to use for making a baby food. So maybe if you already have some pumpkin and you have blended it up, you can add it to make it into a nice little baby food for your child. Pumpkin puree is a great versatile recipe that you can use for almost any recipe involving pumpkin. Be sure to check out any more information on pumpkins on our Cooperative Extension website at union.ces.ncsu.edu. Happy fall and enjoy the pumpkins.